I'm going to share with you what my psychic told me about junior mining stocks. I've been so down in the dumps and what's going on? Why aren't mining stocks moving? That I met with my psychic and this is what she told me. So what is the number one question that everyone has about junior mining stocks right now? What is it? When is it going to happen? All right, so we're going to dive into that. All right, here we go. Okay, so my psychic told me 6 things about junior mining stocks, all right, and I'm going to share them all with you. The first is she understands the pain that we're going through. This is the performance last year of all major asset classes around the world. You can see the NASDAQ, the US NASDAQ, beat all comers. Gold was second at 26, almost 27% return in 2024, and silver was third. Doesn't feel like silver was third, does it? But it was. You can see gold and silver both beat the S&P 500, the DAX, the commodity index, the Hong Kong, Dow, and then look what you come to, gold stocks as measured by the GDX. So what we see is that in 2024, as I think we all know, gold stocks underperformed as a group the gold price itself. I want to show you this volume chart because not a lot of people are talking about this, but this is the venture index, and that's the price in the line there. But I want to call your attention to the bars along the bottom. Those are volume. It's measuring volume. And you can see when there's a lot of green there that the that the venture index usually rises, right? Pretty well. But look at the last 2 years there, starting around August 22, that is, right? Look how the volume in the venture index fell off completely. There's almost no volume to speak of. And at the end of the year, it's down there, 21 million shares. The stocks actually rose on that much daily volume. That's all it took. This is the 1 year of that chart. All right, I don't know if I can go back, but the volume along the bottom there is just that last year we looked at that was really depressed. It was so low in 2024 that it was the lowest average volume in decades on the venture index. That shows us investors just are not in the sector. That's why stock prices are depressed, right? You've probably seen charts like this, but this is the GDX, Gold Miners Index ratio to gold ever since the creation of the GDX. I marked the highs and lows there. You can see where our current ratio is. And look at that, a solid downtrend since 2020. We're near record lows. The GDX relative to the gold price is near record lows. This is the HUI Gold Miners Index. Since its creation, so going back 30 years, its ratio to the gold price. Highs and lows are marked. Again, you can see our current ratio. Gold stocks as a group have basically gone nowhere relative, despite the rise in the gold price, right? All right, number 2, the second thing my psychic told me is you got to keep a sense of humor, all right? So I got 4 jokes here, and we're going to vote on them. You're going to raise your hand, and you're going to tell me which joke is the funniest, all right? We'll see if my joke was the funniest, all right? So number 1, here we go. When I try to type GDX on my phone, it autocorrects to loser, all right? Number 2, did you hear the Cookie Monster bought a gold stock? It was num, 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 no good. Number 3, how are most juniors like bubble wrap? They go pop, 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 pop. And number 4, why do leprechauns consider most mining stocks like fool's gold? Because they're shamrocks. All right, so raise your hand. You can only vote for one joke. I want to see which is the funniest. Which joke is the funniest? Is it number 1? All right. Is it number 2? Ooh. Is it number 3? Oh, interesting. All right. Or was it number 4? Oh, everybody likes them. I think number 1 won, though, and that was my joke. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it. All right, the third thing my psychic told me is, Jeff, remember, gold and gold stocks cycle. This is in the book, Pater, but these are all the cycles since 1975. And this is not gold. I'm measuring gold stocks, okay? There's different indexes over time we had to use, but this is basically showing the cycles in gold stocks since the 1970s. And look at some of those big gains, what percentage gains they had. But look at the red when there was a downtrend. Look at the percentage drop in some of these, 51%, 72%, over there 93%, 91%, 82%. And then over on the far right is our current one. Gold stocks are down by over a third in the current cycle. But the point is that gold stocks cycle. They have big up cycles, they have big down cycles. We're currently in a down cycle. So what I did here is I just wanted to show you the up cycles. I pulled them out of that last chart so you can see just how big some of these are. So of the 10 up cycles since the 1970s, 4 of them have been double-digit percent returns. 6 of them have been triple-digit percent returns. So there are some very big up cycles in gold stocks in the past. We can expect that again. That's what history says. The one on the far right is 2020. I don't know how many of you participated in that or heard my story about how I participated in 2020, but we had the COVID crash and then we had the big COVID bounce, and that's what that is measuring there. All right, number 4. And here's the answer to the question, ladies and gentlemen, that my psychic gave me. She wanted me to know that we're near a record down cycle. So what I did was measured all the down cycles, how long between each of the ones I just showed you, how long did they last before we had another bull market or at least another upcycle in gold stocks. Here it is. So there's the average at the top, the first bar there. You can see the average of all the down cycles is just under 2.5 years. The next bar is our current down cycle in gold stocks. Not gold, just gold stocks. Look how long it's lasted, 4.3 years. Look at the next bar, it's 4.4 years, and that's the longest on record. So we're nearing a record length in how long gold stocks have cycled downward since the last bull market. We're nearing a record. You can see the others there. There's some are measured in months, most are measured in years. The average, again, about 2.5 years. But the point is, when you get this stretched, it's reasonable to expect that another upcycle is coming and coming soon. That's not an unreasonable expectation to have. And given how beaten down they are, the next upcycle could be really fun. All right, number 5, the fifth thing my psychic told me is we'll see a shift into juniors when. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 3 charts, and you tell me the answer. When do you think we'll see a shift into juniors? First chart here is the HUI, the Gold Miners Index to the S&P 500. We're measuring gold stocks to common stocks, okay? You can see the highs and lows in the ratio. There's our current ratio on the far right. You can see that relative to what's happening in the S&P 500, and this chart was updated just like Monday, gold stocks relative to common stocks are very, very weak. So where's the money? Where's the money right now? How much has gold really risen? This is the gold price relative to the NASDAQ, okay? This is a 10-year chart. And look at where the current ratio is. Despite the big rise in the gold price that we've had, relative to the NASDAQ, where everybody's playing, with AI stocks and all that, gold is actually weak. It's in a downtrend. So where's the money right now? Where is the money? This is the gold to Bitcoin ratio. And this chart's kind of wonky because I went back 10 years, but you can see that since, 2018, gold really hasn't risen that much against the Bitcoin price. So the money is not with gold. It's not with gold stocks. It's in the NASDAQ. It's in the S&P. It's in gold. It's in Bitcoin. That's where the money is. So what I think when this happens is when some of the mainstream money that's playing with all those things begins to shift, for whatever reason, over into the gold mining industry. That's when I think it happens. So I think that could be fun. What's going to be what's going to kickstart that? I think it's when those assets go weak, where they don't even necessarily need to crash, but when they go weak into a bear market, they're no longer making money, whatever, I think we'll start to see a shift into our sector. And the last thing my psychic told me is don't wait. Don't wait until you think the next upcycle is going to be. If it's a year away, I don't think it's a year away. I think things are starting to gel. But even if it's a year away, you don't want to wait. Why? Because we're in a bull market. Look how much gold has risen since the current bull market started. I'm measuring this since February 28th of 2024. If anybody remembers, the next day was leap year day. And that's when the gold price took off because the Fed said, well, we're going to end up cutting rates more than we thought we were going to. And that's since changed, of course. But at that point, gold ignited, and it hasn't looked back. It's made new record highs, as we all know. It's up 32% since that day. And look at GDX. GDX, since that bull market started, has outperformed gold. GDXJ, the junior miner stock index, has outperformed GDX. So we're seeing, since the bull market started, which is less than a year old, we're seeing that mining stocks are, as a group, outperforming gold. And of course, all these companies are going to outperform GDXJ. We know that. That's why they're here, right? And just to show you, these are some of the personal gains I've made since I bought them. So I'm not beating my chest here. I just want to show you that there are picks out there that have had very good returns since this all started. And that's another reason why you don't want to wait. And look, there's some pretty good names there. A-Mark Resources, you see, we need to change that from 25% to 125%. If you saw the news today, the stock doubled. Austin Gold, Arizona Gold and Silver, Radisson Mining, Independence Gold, UEC, Heliostar, Erdene, Artemis Gold, Denison Mines, Pacific Empire, NextGen, and Hercules Metals. Now, those of you who know me, what's missing from that chart? What's the biggest gainer we've had since I started publicly giving stock picks? Anybody know? I couldn't put it on the chart because the gain was so big it just distorted everything else. Anybody know? What is it? Snowline Gold. So Snowline Gold is up like 1,400%, something like that. So that's why I didn't put it on the chart. But the point is, there are gains to be made. Stock picking does work. It is a bull market. It's time to be in. The down cycle is getting very stretched. So I think our time is coming very, very soon. For those of you who don't know, we have lots of resources now on the website since getting Gwen's business. Peter Crowd came over as well. He has Silver Stock Advisor. He also started a free newsletter, the Silver Advisor, just like the Gold Advisor that we have. But that's the book there on the left, Pay Dirt. Lots of different ways you can get it. I do have some copies here if you want. It's $25. Now, that's U.S., so $25 U.S. is what, about 170 Canadian? Is that right? So, but don't worry about it. You're going to be the 51st state soon, so don't worry about it. Pater Prospector there on the right. We have two brand new picks. They're up here. We have another one coming soon. It's not an expensive letter, I have to say, so I hope you'll join us. Peter has some of his books out there as well, so we have a lot of resources that we think can be of help, both free and paid. So, all right, so that's what my psychic told me, everyone. I hope you found it useful. Thank you.